In this video, I'm going to show you how to replace the rear window regulators on this Audi A4. This is going to be located in the rear doors behind the door panel. Let's get into it. I'm going to disconnect the battery. You may have a panel over here that you have to remove. This vehicle does not. On the negative side, we're going to use a 10mm wrench. Loosen up the nut, grab the terminal end, and slide it to the side. We're going to remove this trim piece, just using a trim tool. Just get behind, just pry it out. Just be careful, you don't want to crack it. And then once it's popped out and you want to slide it forward, there's a clip right there. With a Phillips head screwdriver, we're going to take these screws out. Use a magnet if you need to. Underneath the handle, Phillips head screwdriver. There we go. Take that out. I'm just using a trim tool. Just get underneath the panel. And we're just going to pry it out. Slide that out, and then I'm just going to go up a little bit. There we go. Pull that out. Pull the cable off. Pop that out. Disconnect the hook. And over here, disconnect the connector on the module. Push down on the tab. And the speaker. Disconnect the connector right there. Just push the two tabs in. Pull that connector out. And disconnect the speaker right here. There's a wire retainer. Just use a trim tool. We'll just pop that off. Sometimes that little piece breaks. That's okay. Disconnect the connector. Push on the tabs. Slide that off. And these connectors underneath the module. Disconnect those. Just push on the tabs. Slide those down. If it helps, you can pop this retainer out. Just use the trim tool. Move those out of the way. Using a T25 socket, take these screws out. And grab the motor and pull that out. Now pull the insulation off with a vapor barrier. If you need to, you can use a utility knife. Just cut some of the butyl tape. Just try not to rip it. You can always add some new butyl tape after. And peel that off. Set that aside. Just using a trim tool, just get under the little panel right here. Just pop that out. And then this weather strip, I'm just going to pop this out. Might want to use a trim tool. Just be careful not to rip it. Once you get it started, it peels up pretty easily. Just carefully peel that off. And right there, that's good. Using some needle nose pliers, there's some clips here. Just push on these clips. You just want to push that little tab in. Just separate that. Inside there, that's good. And remove this screw. Use a T25 socket. Take that out. Take this panel off. Just use a trim tool. Just pop underneath here. That just pops out. Underneath this foam here, you can see there's a couple screws there. We're going to take those out. We're going to use a T45 socket to take these bolts out. And over here. On the side there's a cover. Just pop this off with a trim tool. I'm going to use the T45 socket. Take this bolt out. If you need to, use a magnet. Pull that out. On the inside there's another plug. Just pop that off with a trim tool. I'll use the same T45 socket. And use a magnet if you need to. Pull that out. Using a T30 socket. Take this screw out. And underneath here, there's another bolt. Just peel this insulation away. Using a T30 socket, take this screw out. Using a pair of needle nose pliers, there's a retainer right here. Just want to squeeze that, just push that in. There's a cable that's attached to that. Now grab the window frame, I'll slide it up. It'll come right out. We're going to take these two screws out. You want to be careful on the bench, just you want to make sure you support, make sure there's not too much tension. Putting tension on the glass, we don't want to break the glass. We'll just mark these screws where they are. So when we just put it back together, it's close. You can make adjustments later if you need to. Just use a marker, it's good. And using a T25 socket, take those screws out. You could even mark inside here where these two pieces are. Just so it's a little easier when going together. That's good. Just separate the glass. We're going to slide the glass down. Again, be careful, you don't want to break the glass. Might have to twist the glass slightly. There we go. So you just kind of tip the glass a little bit. And we're going to take this screw out, use a T25 socket. Loosen that up. And it comes out. Take the new regulator, line that up. And we'll tighten this down. And snug that down. That's good. All right, before we attach the regulator, we have these couple little brackets that have to go in here. This is slightly different than how the regulator was that came out. You see where the stud is? That's going to go through the front like that. And then on the back side, you're going to take a nut. You can flip this over so you can see. Put the nut on there. And use the other nut. This way, when it's actually in the vehicle, it'll be easier to make adjustments. You could just loosen up these nuts because you'll be able to access those from inside the vehicle. So we're just going to put these in the center. I'll snug those down. Use a 10mm socket. Snug those down. I'll put this bolt in. Get this bolt started. Snug that down. Take the window. Just slide this into place. Move it up, just twist it. Get that moved up. You can move this up. Get that lined up. And if this doesn't line up too well, you can loosen up those nuts on the back side. Just get those loose so that lines up. And we'll take the new washers and new bolts. Get these close to center where you made your marks. Snug those down. We'll just try this, slide it down the track. That looks like it's working well. Slide that all the way up. I'll snug the nuts down. And snug the bolts down. That's good. Take the window. And just slide it in. And get the bolts started. And just get all the bolts started. And we'll tighten this one down. That's good. Lines up. And the bolts in the side here. Get that started. I'll snug this down. That's good. And same on the other side. And the bolt in here. Get that one lined up. And snug that down. And now tighten these ones down. two. That's good. And this one. Snug that down. And down below. Snug that down. Take this insulation that fell off, just push that back in place. You can use some butyl tape, tape that back on if you need to. And the weather stripping, we'll get that close. Get that on in a second. And take this insulation that came off, just get this lined up and put this cover on. It's gonna clip in, it's good. Now take the weather strip and I'll just push that back in. Just kind of roll it, makes it easy to go back in. And you can grab this piece. We'll just cut this wire tie off. We just don't want that wheel to unwind. That's why we just cut it off now. And get this lined up. Push that in. It's okay right there. Take this retainer off the old window regulator. Slide that off. It's gonna go up here. So just grab behind, slide that over, push that through. That's good. This is all still lined up. That's good. Take the vapor barrier, slide that in place. Use some new butyl tape. Get everything lined up just so it sticks well. Good. I'll take the motor and the module, get this lined up, take the screws, get those started. And snug those down. There we go. Snug those down. Take the wiring harness, get that secured. Push those in, push the retainer in. A speaker, plug that in. Push that retainer in. And these covers, get that lined up. It's good. And take the door panel. I'm gonna connect the connector. And the speaker, plug that in. Good. The cable for the handle. Slide the hook through and push the cable into the bracket. Now we'll get the top started. You kind of need to push the front end first. There we go. Get that all lined up. Tap it back in and put the screws in. Snug those down. Snug that down. Then take this trim piece. You want to clip that in on the back. Push it. And then just tap it down. And the trim pieces on the side, push those in place. Same on the inside. Yep, that's good. Now we're going to connect the battery, take the negative terminal, line it up, take the wrench, snug that down, give it a wiggle, make sure it's tight. And if you have that panel, you want to put that panel on top.
When only the best will do, demand TRQ. The only company that lets you view before you do. TRQ is committed to offering the highest quality aftermarket auto parts that are engineered for peace of mind. Thanks for using and viewing with TRQ.